Now, many of you will know that not only is NIO selling their cars in China, but they are also selling their cars into 5 European countries, namely Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, and Norway, which is something that is great. I mean, one of the things that we've been seeing in the European market when you look into NIO is that obviously they've been struggling. They've not been doing well, and this is because, or partly because, of the tariffs that have been imposed by the EU Commission last year in October, November, right? And this has really had an impact, or a very big impact, onto NIO sales, because already the NIO cars are quite pricey, and making or introducing these tariffs make things worse, because right now it's difficult for NIO to sell as much vehicle as possible, because their cars are even more expensive because of these tariffs. Otherwise, NIO will end up, or has to sell their cars at a loss, which is not good at all. But obviously, one thing that you must know about Europe is that they don't have much impact as yet onto the total sales that NIO gets to generate on a month to month. I mean, you will know that obviously when you look into the total sales, even during the time that Europe was not struggling that much, you will notice that the total sales that Europe was contributing onto the overall sales that NIO generates, it was around 2-3%, and therefore they are like a drop in an ocean. Or the total number of sales that NIO generates in Europe, it's like 2% of the overall sales that NIO gets to generate. Now, the reason why I'm giving you this background is, well, I see there's an article that has been trending of saying that in Sweden, NIO, for the month of April, they only sold 2 cars, which this obviously is making some of the new investors to obviously wonder what's really happening. And this video is just to tell you what or was just for me to reveal what is the story behind the low sales that we are seeing onto NIO, which it's mainly due to tariffs, honestly. I mean, if you remember during the auto show, one of the things that the NIO CEO was telling the ZF Group CEO who collected his 89 was that obviously the reason why they are not taking even the 89 to the European market is because of tariffs. Tariffs are creating a lot of barrier for Chinese EV makers like NIO. Tariffs are the ones that are slowing the penetration of Chinese EV makers into Europe. But the good thing is that China and Europe, they are in talks right now, and very soon we could see the tariffs being scraped off completely, which will be so great, so amazing, because it will give an opportunity of NIO to do very well. Something though that I like about NIO is that they've launched a sub-brand called Firefly, which their first model is also called Firefly, and that model is expected to be the one that unlocks massive sales into Europe because of its price. It's cheap, right? I mean, Firefly in China starts at $16,410, but in Norway, which by the way, Norway is not participating into imposing additional tariffs onto NIO. NIO is still having the same tariffs in Norway they had before. I think it was like 10%, right? This car in Norway starts around $26,000, which, knowing this, I think $26,000 is still, it can still be a competitive price throughout Europe. So when tariffs fade away, or when they scrape off, and maybe there's a deal that gets to be agreed upon by the two parties, I think Firefly can be able to do very well with the $26,000 starting price. I know to some countries it might be slightly more, some slightly less, but I believe that it can be able to do very well, this model, which is something that is great, because it takes away that thing of saying, look, NIO cars are quite pricey and cannot be afforded by anyone. This one, it's cheap. This one, it's not that bad. And obviously, it can be able to give some serious competition to your Smart, to your Mini Cooper, with this kind of price, which is something that is great and something that is very, very exciting. So small cars in Europe, the good thing is that are they are the favorites, right? The market is able to do much better for small cars in Europe, meaning that it can be able to do very well. Firefly can do very well in Europe. You will know that by the end of this year, NIO's target is to see or find themselves selling at 20 markets. Firefly selling at plus 20 markets, all except China. which is something that is great because we could see these European countries also being some of the countries that tariffs that this Firefly sub brand is being sold to by the end of this year, which is something that is great and something that is very, very exciting. So yeah, man, I'm not worried honestly, because I know that in the short term, as long as there are these tariffs, Neo will forever be restricted to sell or to do much better or to sell well in Europe. But the good thing is that the two parties are talking, are engaging, and hopefully a solution is reached as soon as possible. I believe that the solution will be reached, and yeah, man, I just thought I'd come and give you this quick update. So do not take it otherwise, do not take it like Neo it's really struggling that bad, but take it as it is, and that is the reason why Neo is not able to do well in Europe, except Norway, of course. It's because of the tariffs that were imposed sometime in November of last year. Neo was hit with an additional 20.8% of tariffs, and this makes it very difficult for Neo to continue their expansion in Europe and continue to ship their cars into Europe, because their cars are becoming more and more expensive. Because what these tariffs do to Neo cars is Neo is forced to increase the prices on their cars because of these 20.8 additional tariffs that EU has imposed onto EV makers like Neo, which is something that is not good, something that obviously will make things difficult. But again, the good thing is that the two parties, EU Commission and China, they are currently engaging one another, and hopefully a solution comes very soon. And when that solution comes, it will open doors for Neo. I think the solution that they are currently looking at is to have a base price. Rather than having these tariffs, is to have a base price to say, look, the base price of all Chinese EV makers or Chinese cars or cars coming from China is $20,000 or 20,000 euros, for instance, which this will, I suppose it will make sense. And this is what I think they are looking at, to have a base price of all the cars that come from China, meaning that you won't really have that much of cheap cars being, of course, exported, because there are those cars like, I mean, Firefly in China is 16,400. If they are saying maybe base price for all the Chinese EV cars is around $25,000, it is still good for Firefly, because starting price already in Europe, in Norway, where there are no tariffs, is around $26,000. It won't hurt them that much, which is something that is very, very good, and we need to take cognizance of. So yeah, man, I am very happy, I am excited, and I thought I'd come and give you this quick updates to say, don't worry that much, things will get better, things will improve in Europe with time. In the short term, Neo will still face some serious hit, but medium to long term, or that is maybe even before the end of this year, there will be a solution between the two countries, probably, that will take away or scrape away the tariffs completely, which is something that is good. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It takes me some time to make these videos, and I'll see you on the next one, and God bless you all.